Good evening, guys. In the last session, we discussed about what is Spring Bean, how to represent Java class as a Spring Bean, and what is IOC container. What is IOC container? What is Bean configuration file? What is Bean configuration file? How to represent Bean class that already done? What is Bean configuration file? And we discussed about how to start IOC container. First application development using Spring IOC container. First application development. First application development using Spring core module. So these are the topics that we discussed in the last session. What is a Spring Bean? Any Java class which is managed by IOC container. If the Java class object creation, object destruction, if our class lifecycle is managed by IOC container, such class is called as Spring Bean. How to represent Java class as a Spring Bean? We can represent Java class as a Spring Bean in two ways. One is by using XML approach. Second one is by using annotation approach. Okay, then what is IOC container? IOC stands for inversion of control. It is responsible to perform dependency injection among the classes. In our project, multiple classes will be available. So instead of we are creating the objects and we are making objects available for other classes, instead of we are managing the dependency among the classes, we can take the help of IOC container to manage the dependencies among the classes. To manage the dependencies among the classes. Okay, guys. Now, so what is the Spring Bean? What is Spring Bean? Any Java class which is managed by IOC container, that is called as Spring Bean. How to represent Java class as a Spring Bean? We can represent Java class as a Spring Bean in two ways. One is by using XML file, another one is by using annotation. So what is IOC? IOC stands for inversion of control. Here, IOC container is responsible to perform dependency injection. So we understood what is dependency injection. Okay, we understood what is dependency injection. The process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. So that a dependency injection we can do by using setter, we can do by using constructor, and we can do by using field injection also. The process of injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. Dependency injection can be done in three ways. One is by using setter injection, another one is by using constructor injection, third one is by using field injection. We developed our first application by using Spring core module, right? We started our IOC container. IOC container we are starting in two ways. We can start in two ways. One is by using Bean factory. Second one is by using application context. When we are starting the IOC container, we need to provide Bean configuration file as a input. So what will be there in the Bean configuration file? Our Bean configuration file will contain Bean definitions. Bean configuration file will contain Bean definitions. IOC container. We have started our IOC container. So when we start the IOC container, we are passing Bean configuration file as the input. When we provide Bean configuration file as the input, IOC container will load the Bean configuration file, will read all the Bean definitions, and will create the Bean objects directly. You no need to tell the IOC to create the Bean object. Whenever you start the IOC container with beans.xml, it is going to create the objects for the beans which are declared in the Bean configuration file. To represent our Java class as a Spring Bean, we are using Bean tag. Bean ID is equal to petrol engine, class is equal to fully qualified class name. So it is loading this class, it is creating the object. How can we say that the object is created? So to understand that, I have taken one zero param constructor. Whenever object is created for a class, this constructor will be executed. So I have taken a constructor. In that constructor, I'm writing SOP statement. So in this class also, I have taken a constructor. I'm writing SOP statement. Here also, I'm taking a constructor. I'm writing SOP statement. So here I'm configuring petrol engine and I'm configuring car. Okay. For petrol engine, object will be created. For car also, object will be created. Inside the car, I'm writing a property. Whenever I write a property here, what will happen? Property represents it is a setter injection. Now, so the bean configuration file contains bean definitions. Now I am going for app.java. This is my class where I'm starting the IOC container. To start the IOC container, I am using application context. To start the IOC container, I'm using application context. Application context is equal to new class path XML application context. I'm giving beans.xml file. So it will read the beans.xml file. It will load all the bean definitions, will perform the dependency injection based on the bean definition. It will make objects are ready. So once the objects are ready, I want to access the objects from the IOC container. To access the objects from the IOC container, there is a method called getBean method. Context.getBean of car. I want to get the car object from the IOC. When I ask for the car object already created by IOC, and car object is having petrol engine as a dependency. That dependency injection also completed by using that property tag. So once I got the car object, I'm calling the drive method. Click on this run as Java application. When I click on run as Java application, you can see that petrol engine constructor, car constructor, set engine method, petrol engine started, journey started. Petrol engine object is created. This is the proof. Constructor is executed. Car class constructor is executed. Setter method is executed. Petrol engine started, journey started. So can I say dependency injection? Can I say dependency injection completed by IOC container? Am I asking the IOC to do that, or based on the configuration file IOC is doing that? Am I asking IOC to do that, or IOC is doing automatically with the bean configuration file? IOC is doing that automatically with the bean configuration file. Okay guys, now let me develop another application. I mean same application with the constructor injection I am going to develop. Observe the steps carefully. Yesterday I have given the steps now. Now I am going to develop the same application, but today you will get some more clarity on the application development. Okay, what is the first step? Create Maven project in the IDE. File, new Maven project. I'm going to create a simple project. Next, group ID, I'm giving 02 IOC DI application. Second application I'm performing, I'm creating second application by using IOC container with dependency injection. Okay guys, I'm creating second application by using IOC container with dependency injection. At group ID, I can give group ID as in.ashok.it. I can give group ID as in.ashok.it. Artifact ID I'm giving as IOC DI application. Okay, click on finish. My second application is created. My second application is created. Once the project is created, let me change the Java version. Build path, configure build path. By default, Maven is taking 1.5. I'm going to edit that. I will add 1.8. I'm adding 1.8 version. That is fine. Coming to pom.xml. As I want to use a Spring framework in our project, we need to add the Spring dependencies. So Spring context dependency I'm adding, 5.2 release version of dependency I'm adding. Take the dependencies, you can add the dependencies. Where we can search for the dependencies, these dependencies we can search in the mbnrepository.com. I have given the link also, www.mbnrepository.com. We can search for our dependencies here. We can search for our dependencies here. I have taken Spring dependency, that is fine. Okay, next let us create our classes. So yesterday we created our classes, right? iEngine, petrol engine, diesel engine. Let me take this package. So same classes I need to create today also. I'm going to copy paste them. Okay guys, so no need of explanation because from 3 days we are working on same classes. iEngine is my interface. Let me close my second project. Yeah, iEngine is my interface. In the iEngine interface, I'm having a start method. Okay, so for that iEngine, we are having petrol engine as one implementation class. Petrol engine class is implementing iEngine interface. I'm writing a zero param constructor to understand petrol engine object is created. I'm writing a start method. Now let us go for a diesel engine, diesel engine.java. So diesel engine class is also implementing iEngine interface. So in this constructor, I'm writing SOP, system.out.println, diesel engine constructor is getting executed. Now I am writing a start method, diesel engine started. Petrol engine class implementing iEngine interface, diesel engine class implementing iEngine interface. Okay, now I want to create a car class, new class called car. New class called car. Car class I have created. For time being, I'm not doing anything in this car class. I'm just writing car class constructor. System.out.println, system.out.println, car class constructor. System.out.println, car class constructor. I'm not writing anything, just I'm creating a diesel engine class, petrol engine class, and a car class. So for three classes, I have added the constructors. Why these constructors are added? To understand when the objects are creating for these classes. Okay, three classes are available. Now, as of now, these three classes are normal Java classes. Car is one normal Java class. Diesel engine is one normal Java class. Petrol engine is one normal Java class. iEngine is an interface. For interface, we cannot create the object. For the normal Java classes, we can create the object. For normal Java classes, we can create the object. Okay, now, so normal Java classes are available. Can we represent these Java classes as Spring Beans, guys? Can we represent these Java classes as Spring Beans? Come on. Can we represent these Java classes as Spring Beans? Can we represent these Java classes as Spring Beans? Can you tell me how to represent this Java class as a Spring Bean? Can you tell me how to represent this Java class as a Spring Bean? To represent this Java class as a Spring Bean, we have two options. One is by using XML configuration, another one is by using annotations. Currently, we are working with the XML. So in the main Java, right click, create bean configuration file. What is the bean configuration file? You can give any name for that. I'm giving the name as beans.xml. Click on finish. Okay, so my file is created. In this file is going to start with the beans tag. This file will start with the beans tag. Now, I want to represent my classes as a Spring Beans. So let me write bean tag. Bean ID is equal to petrol engine. Bean ID is equal to petrol engine. Class is equal to petrol engine. I'm using control space automatically. That fully qualified name is coming. You cannot configure only name of the class. You need to configure package name dot class. This is called fully qualified class name. So this bean tag will represent our Java class as a Spring Bean. So what is a Spring Bean? Any Java class which is managed by IOC container, that class is called as a Spring Bean. Any Java class which is managed by IOC container is called as a Spring Bean. Now let's go here. Bean ID is equal to diesel engine. Okay, class is equal to diesel engine. You can type the class name, control space, you will get the fully qualified class name. We are able to write that. We are able to represent petrol engine as a Spring Bean. We are able to represent a diesel engine as a Spring Bean. Now let me represent bean ID is equal to car. Class is equal to car. Car class also I want to represent as a Spring Bean. So just I configured three classes as Spring Beans. I just configured three classes as Spring Beans. Are you guys getting my point? Okay, three classes I configured as Spring Beans. I'm not doing any dependency injection. Just I have three classes. Those three classes I represented as a Spring Bean by using bean configuration file. Now let me start my IOC container and let me check the behavior of the IOC. in.ashokit.main. Okay, so let me go for a main class. Inside this main class, I'm writing a main method. Inside the main class, I'm writing a main method. I want to start the IOC. How many ways we can start the IOC? We have two ways. Okay, start IOC container. There are two ways available. One is by using Bean Factory. Bean Factory, factory is equal to new XML Bean Factory, right? New class path resource. New class path resource. We can pass that beans.xml file as a input. Okay, Bean Factory interface I'm taking. Bean Factory is equal to new XML Bean Factory. I'm giving new class path resource beans.xml. Okay, system.out.println application completed. Application execution finished. Application execution finished. Now see here, when I run this program, run as a Java application, is it creating the objects or it is just starting the IOC container, guys? When I start my IOC container by using Bean Factory, I'm giving beans.xml file as input. First of all, XML Bean Factory class is deprecated. First of all, it is deprecated. Deprecated means it is recommended to use or it is not recommended to use. Guys, when it is deprecated, is it recommended to use or it is not recommended to use? Someone is saying, please go slow. Sir, I'm not explaining anything new. Whatever I have explained yesterday, same thing I am repeating. Guys, do you feel I'm going speed? I'm revising, man. I'm not explaining anything new. I'm repeating yesterday's topic only. I'm repeating everything 3 to 4 times. Again, you are showing, please go slow. Good. Fine, guys. Here, we are starting IOC container to manage our classes. I want to manage my classes by using IOC container. So that's why whatever the classes I have in my project, those classes I represented as Spring Beans. Okay, so petrol engine is one class, diesel engine is one class, car is one class. I represented those classes as Spring Beans so that IOC container will manage my classes. So for IOC container, I need to tell that where my classes are configured. I configured my classes in the Bean configuration file. That Bean configuration file I'm giving as an input for the IOC container. So that IOC container I am starting by using Bean Factory. Bean Factory is equal to new XML Bean Factory, new class path resource beans.xml. I am starting my IOC by using Bean Factory. Guys, is it creating the objects for the classes or it is just starting and it is ending? Is it creating object for the classes or it is not creating objects for the classes? It is not creating the objects for the classes. Now see here you need to do one thing. Factory dot get bean of car dot class. Factory dot get bean of car dot class. Now run this program, run as a Java application. So whenever you call get bean method, then only car object is created. So can I say this Bean Factory is a lazy loading? Can I say Bean Factory is lazy loading? Whenever we call getBean method, then only it is creating the object for the class. Otherwise, it is not going to create the object for the class. Yesterday, people asked me, sir, what is the difference between Bean Factory and application context? By using Bean Factory, we can start the IOC, but it will start the IOC as a lazy. That means immediately when the IOC is started, it is not going to create the object for the class. Whenever you call getBean method, then only it is going to create the object for the class. It is a lazy loading. It is like our students. Whenever there is an exam, then only we are going to study. Whenever there is an exam, then only we are going to study. Okay, so can I say Bean Factory is going to follow lazy loading mechanism? Can I say Bean Factory is going to follow lazy loading mechanism? Yes. So now I am creating object for the IOC by using Bean Factory. Bean Factory is equal to new XML Bean Factory, new class path resource beans.xml. I'm passing my beans.xml file. it is just to reading the bean definition. That's it. It is not doing anything. It is lazy. Whenever I call get bean method, then only it is going to create the object for the class. For example, if I go for application context, application context is equal to new class path XML application context. For that, I am passing same file as the input, that is beans.xml. That's it. Application IOC application context started. Application context started. Application context started. Now observe the difference, guys. I'm starting the bean factory here. I'm starting the bean factory here, and I'm starting the IOC container by using bean factory, and I'm starting the IOC container by using application context. Run as a Java application. Now see, when the application context is started, petrol engine object is created, diesel engine object is created, car object is created. Okay, bean factory creating the object for the bean classes, or application context container creating the object for the bean classes. Which is the eager loading? Which is lazy loading? Come on, guys. Which is eager loading? Which is lazy loading? Bean factory is lazy loading. Application context is eager loading. Bean factory is lazy loading. Application context is eager loading. So whenever we start the IOC by using bean factory, it will become lazy loading. Whenever you call get bean, then only it is going to create the object for the bean. Whenever you start the IOC by using application context, by default, it will create the objects for the beans which are configured in the bean configuration file. Okay, how we get to know lazy loading? Shirisha, if you observe here, whenever I start the bean factory, is it creating the object for the bean classes, or it is not creating the objects for the bean classes? Whenever I start my application by using bean factory, it is not creating the objects. That's why it is called as lazy loading. Whenever we create the IOC by using application context, right? Whenever I run my program, you can see objects are created. That's why we are calling application context as eager loading. Bean factory we are calling as lazy loading. Are you clear? Are you clear? Now, sir, which one we need to use in the project? I no need to answer this question. You can see that bean factory is deprecated by Spring. What is the meaning of bean factory deprecated? In future versions of the Spring, bean factory will not be available. So Spring people also realize it that bean factory is not required. Application context is available. So everybody is going to use application context only to start the IOC container. Bean factory is already outdated. That's why Spring people deprecated. In future versions of the Spring, bean factory will not be available. Are you clear, guys? Bean factory will not be available in the future versions of the Spring. Application context will be available. Then you may get another doubt. Sir, if I have 200 classes in the project, all the 200 classes will be loaded at a time and the object will be created at a time. Is there any performance issue? Is there any performance issue? Do you have that question in your mind? Do you have that question in your mind? If my project is having 1000 classes, then all the 1000 classes will be loaded by application context at a time. At a time, it is going to create the object for the 1000 classes. Is it going to impact the performance of my application? Is it going to impact the performance of my application? No. The reason is whenever we start the IOC container by using application context, it is going to read the bean definitions and it is going to create the objects for the all the bean classes depends on scope of the bean. It is not going to create object for all the beans, guys. Whenever you start the bean factory, it will not create object for any bean. Whenever you call get bean, then only object will be created by bean factory. Whenever you go for application context, it is going to perform eager loading. That eager loading depends upon bean scope. In the Spring, there is a concept called bean scope available. I'm going to specify scope as a prototype. By default, Spring Bean scope is a singleton. Singleton means only one object will be created. Prototype means every time new object will be created. Now see the difference. So 2 beans, I have not given any scope. When I don't give any scope for the bean, by default, the scope will become singleton. For the car, I am giving the scope as a prototype. So the topic we will discuss in the coming classes, bean scopes. Today, just understand, you have a question. If my project is having 1000 classes, is it going to load all the 1000 classes at a time? Is it going to create the object for the 1000 classes at a time? It is going to decrease performance of my application? No. Spring people are intelligent. Spring people are intelligent. Application context will create the object for the bean classes which are singleton scoped. By default, every Spring Bean is a singleton. Singleton means only one object will be created at any point of time. Prototype means every time new object will be created. So petrol engine, diesel engine beans does not have any scope. When the petrol and diesel doesn't have any scope, that means they are having default scope. What is a default scope in the Spring? Singleton. Car scope is what? Car is a prototype. Okay. Now run the project. Go to main class. Run as a Java application. Is it creating object for all the classes, or it is creating the object only for petrol and diesel? Come on, guys. Is it creating object for all the classes, or it is creating object only for petrol engine and a diesel engine? Can you see the output now? Can you see the output? So there are 3 classes available in my bean configuration file. Why the object is created for only 2 classes? Why not for 3 classes? That means application context creating the object for all the classes blindly. Blindly, is it going to create the object for all the bean definitions? No, some condition is there. Application context will create the objects for all the beans which are singleton. What is the meaning of singleton? What is the meaning of singleton, guys? What is the meaning of singleton? Only one object. That means by default, every Spring Bean is a singleton bean. Only one object will be created. If I create object now or after some time, there is no effect now because only one object. That's why for singleton beans, only one object will be created. For the car class, object is created, or for the car class, object is not created. For car class, object is not created. Why the object is not created for the car? Because the car is a prototype. Now, when the object will be created for the car? Whenever you request context dot get bean of car dot class. Context dot get bean of car dot class. Run as a Java application. Now see, petrol engine, diesel engine objects are created and car class object is also created. When the car class object is created, whenever I call it on demand basis. Prototype bean objects are creating on demand basis. Singleton bean objects are creating at the time of starting. So application context is following eager loading for the singleton beans and following lazy loading for the prototype beans. Now, are you able to understand what is the difference between bean factory and application context? Are you able to understand the difference between bean factory and application context? Come on, guys. Come on, are you able to understand the difference between bean factory and application context? Okay, difference between bean factory and application context. Both are used to start the IOC container. A bean factory interface having XML bean factory as implementation class. Application context interface having new class XML class path, new class path XML application context as implementation class. Right, guys? Bean Factory is having XML Bean Factory as implementation class. Application context is having new class path XML application context class as implementation class. Right. Now, Bean Factory will follow lazy loading mechanism. Am I right? Bean Factory will follow lazy loading concept. Will follow lazy loading concept. That means when we request, then only it will create bean object. Okay, whenever we start IOC container by using Bean Factory will follow lazy loading concept. That means when we request, then only it will create bean object. Then what about application context? Application context will follow eager loading for singleton beans. Application context will follow eager loading for singleton beans. For prototype beans, it will also follow lazy loading. Note, by default, the default scope of the Spring Bean is singleton. Spring Bean default scope is singleton. Spring Bean default scope is singleton. Okay, guys, able to understand? Bean Factory interface having XML Bean Factory as a implementation class. Bean Factory is equal to new XML Bean Factory, new class path resource beans.xml. Application context interface having class path XML application context as a implementation class. Application context is equal to new class path XML application context with beans.xml. Bean Factory will follow lazy loading concept. That means when we request, then only it will create bean object. Application context will follow eager loading for singleton beans. For prototype beans, it will also follow lazy loading. Spring Bean default scope is singleton. So what is the meaning of eager loading and lazy loading? Eager loading means creating the objects when the IOC started. Lazy loading means creating the bean objects whenever we call getBean method. Eager loading means what? Eager loading means creating the objects. Eager loading means creating objects for Spring Beans. Creating objects for Spring Beans when IOC starts. What about lazy loading? Lazy loading means creating objects for Spring Bean when we call getBean method. So whenever we are starting Bean Factory, see here, whenever I'm starting the IOC container by using Bean Factory, run as a Java application, there is no object created because it is lazy loading. So whenever I call factory.getBean, of car.class, okay, then run as Java application, then only it is creating the object for the car. Okay, suppose if I go for application context is equal to new class path XML application context. I'm going to pass my bean configuration file, which is beans.xml. So run this program, run as a Java application. Car object is created by Bean Factory. Petrol engine, diesel engine object is created by application context. System.out.println application context started. Whenever application context is started, then only it is creating the object for petrol engine and diesel engine. Why it is creating only for petrol engine, diesel engine? Why not for car? petrol engine, diesel engine beans are singleton. Car is a prototype. Car is prototype. Run as Java application. So car object is created by bean factory. Car object is created by bean factory. Bean factory started. Bean factory started. Whenever the bean factory is started, it is creating object for the car because I am calling that factory.getBean. Car object is created. I'm starting application context. When I start the application context, by default object is created for petrol engine and diesel engine. The reason they are singleton. So now context dot getBean of car.class. Context dot getBean of car.class. Whenever I run this, now you see IOC container, bean factory starting one IOC container, application context starting one IOC container. In the application context, petrol diesel objects created by default because they are singleton. Car object, when I call the getBean, then only it is creating. So can you say these statements are correct? Practically, are you able to understand the difference between bean factory and application context? Bean factory interface having XML bean factory as a IMPL class, and application context is having class path XML application context as a IMPL class. Bean factory will follow lazy loading concept. That means when we request, then only it will create the bean object. Application context will follow eager loading for singleton beans. For prototype beans, it will also follow lazy loading. Spring Bean default scope is singleton. Spring Bean default scope is singleton. By default, the scope is singleton. That means only one object will be created. So what is the meaning of lazy loading and eager loading? Whenever we start IOC container, if the bean objects are created immediately, then that is called as eager loading. Lazy loading means creating the bean objects for the Spring Bean when we call getBean method. When we call getBean method, then only bean objects will be created. Are you guys clear with this point? Are you guys clear with this point? So what is the conclusion? Bean factory is deprecated. Bean factory is deprecated. Bean factory is deprecated. That means it may not available. It may not available. XML bean factory is deprecated. Is deprecated. That means it may not be. It may not available in future versions of Spring. In future versions of Spring, creating IOC container using application context is always recommended. It is recommended to create. It is recommended to create IOC using application context. Whatever the features are available in the bean factory, same features are available in the application context also, and some additional features also available in the application context. So it is recommended to create IOC container by using application context. So two ways are there to start IOC. One is by using bean factory. Another one is by using application context. Okay, fine. So we are able to create the objects. From now onwards, I'm not going to use bean factory, guys. I will go for only application context. I will go for only application context. Scope we will discuss later. Okay. Now I have three classes. What is the scope of these three beans, guys? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what is the scope of these three beans? What is the scope of these three beans? Singleton. Am I configuring the scope or it is a default scope? Am I configuring the scope or it is a default scope? It is a default. Okay, good. Now I want to perform the dependency injection. I want to perform the dependency injection. In how many ways we can perform the dependency injection, guys? I want to use engine here, private iEngine ENG. Okay. Now, in how many ways we can do the dependency injection? I can write a setter method, public void set ENG iEngine ENG. This dot ENG is equal to ENG. Now I am taking a constructor iEngine ENG. iEngine ENG. This dot ENG is equal to ENG. Now I'm going to write public void drive method. Okay, inside the drive ENG dot start. ENG dot start. It is giving me status. If status greater than or equal to 1, then system.out.println, I can say journey started. Else I can say system.out.println engine trouble. Journey started and engine trouble. All right, guys. So here we are having this program. Can I say my car is dependent on the engine? From 1 week we are understanding the same thing. Car is dependent on the engine, but car is tightly coupled with the engine. Car is loosely coupled with the engine. Guys, car is tightly coupled with the engine. Car is loosely coupled with the engine. Car is tightly coupled with the engine, or car is loosely coupled with the engine. Come on, guys. Car is tightly coupled with the engine, or car is loosely coupled with the engine. Loosely coupled with the engine, but the car is dependent on the engine. Car is dependent on the engine. Okay, guys. Car is dependent on the engine. How many ways we can perform the dependency injection now? How many ways we can perform the dependency injection now? How many ways we can perform the dependency injection now? In 3 ways we can perform the dependency injection now. Constructor, setter, field. Okay. When we go for XML configuration, we can perform the dependency injection in 2 ways. One is a setter, another one is constructor. Car parameterized constructor. This is parameterized constructor, and this is car zero param constructor, no param constructor. Okay, so this is parameterized constructor and this is no param constructor. This is parameterized constructor and this is no parameterized constructor. Now I want to perform the dependency injection. In 2 ways we can do that. One is by using setter, another one is by using constructor. To perform the dependency injection by using setter, we will use property. What is the tag we are going to use, guys? Property tag we are going to use. So property name is equal to ENG, ref is equal to diesel engine. Property name is equal to ENG, ref is equal to diesel engine. What is the meaning of that? Guys, what is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? I'm telling to perform setter injection. Inject diesel engine object into car class by using this reference. Name is equal to ENG. This is my variable name. Reference is equal to diesel engine. That means I'm telling to IOC to call this setter method. I'm telling to IOC to call this setter method. Set ENG method called. Set ENG method called. I'm telling the IOC to create. I'm telling the IOC to call this a setter method. Okay, how I am telling the IOC to call the setter method? By using property tag. What is the meaning of a property tag? Property tag will represent a setter injection. Now run this program. Car class object we are getting. Car bean object we are getting. Bean dot drive. I'm calling drive method. Run as a Java application. Now see. Petrol engine. Diesel engine. Car param constructor, set ENG method called, diesel engine started, journey started. Okay, so what happened now? What happened now? What happened now? Setter method is executed. This is zero param constructor, sorry. Zero param constructor. Run as Java application. Petrol engine object is created. Diesel engine object is created. Car zero param constructor is executed. Set ENG method is executed. Diesel engine started, journey started. So tell me, with this output, can you tell me which dependency injection performed? Guys, with this output, can you see? Can you tell me Which dependency injection is performed? Which dependency injection is performed? Setter injection performed or constructor injection is performed? Guys, setter injection performed or constructor injection is performed? Constructor injection performed. Setter injection performed. Why setter injection is performed? You can see here now. Car class 0 param constructor is called to create the car object. And the dependency object, dependent object is injected through setter method. Why setter injection is performed? Because we are using property tag. We are using property tag. We are using property tag. Property tag represents property tag represents a setter injection. I don't want to do the setter. I want to go for constructor. How to perform constructor injection? Constructor arg. What is the name of the arg? ENG. Which object I want to inject? I want to inject petrol engine. I want to inject petrol engine. So here property tag I have commented. I have enabled constructor argument. Now run our program, main method, run as a Java application. Now see, setter method is not called. Setter method is not called. Car class. Okay. So car class param constructor got executed. Go to the main method, run as a Java application. So car class parameter constructor is executed, petrol engine started, and journey started. Which object is injected? Property tag is executing, or constructor arg tag is executing. Constructor arg tag is executing. Constructor injection is performed. With this constructor, I'm injecting petrol engine object. Okay, guys. With this constructor, petrol engine is injected. With this constructor, petrol engine object is injected. Are you clear? Now, if I write both, then what will happen? If I remove comment, petrol engine is injecting by constructor, diesel engine is injecting by setter. Property tag is using diesel engine reference, constructor tag is using petrol engine reference. If I do both, which object will be injected? Which object will be injected, guys? Which engine will start? First constructor injection will execute, then setter injection will execute. Constructor injection will inject petrol. Setter injection will inject diesel. Finally, which engine will be available? We already discussed that in the last session. If we perform both, what will happen? Setter injection will override the constructor injection. Setter injection will override the constructor injection. First, constructor injection happened, then setter injection happened. So whatever the value is injected by the constructor injection, that value is replaced by the setter injection, because first constructor will execute, constructor will inject petrol object into ENG variable, then setter method will execute, setter method will reinitialize the variable with the diesel engine object. Property tag will represent setter injection, constructor tag will represent constructor injection. Where I'm doing the two injections for the same variable. I'm doing the 2 injections for the same variable. When I do 2 injections for the same variable, it is going to replace that. First constructor injection will execute, then setter injection will execute. First constructor injection will execute, then setter injection will execute. So setter injection will override the constructor injection. Are you guys clear? Are you guys clear with this concept? Come on. Okay. Now we are able to understand what is the tag to perform the setter injection. What is the tag to perform the constructor injection? Property tag represents the setter injection. Constructor arg tag represents constructor injection. Got it? So I will give the example of bin factory. Bin factory is equal to new XML bin factory. Okay. Fine. How to represent setter injection and constructor injection in the bin configuration file? How to differentiate setter injection and constructor injection in bin configuration file? Do you know the difference between setter injection and constructor injection, guys? Property tag represents setter injection. Constructor -arg tag represents constructor injection. Property tag represents setter injection. Constructor -arg tag represents constructor injection. Petrol engine I represented as a spring bean. Diesel engine I represented as a spring bean. Property tag represents setter injection. Constructor -arg tag represents constructor injection. When we perform both SI and CI, then SI will override CI value. SI means setter injection, CI means constructor injection. When we perform both setter injection and constructor injection, then setter injection will override constructor injection value. Are you clear? Are you clear with my point? Are you clear with my point? Yes. Any questions, anybody? Can you ask your questions now? Anybody having any questions now?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Actually, I have a question regarding to spring bean. That is that is a different concept, but the thread safety, how we can make a Spring Bean as a thread safety?
That's different topic, sir. We have not discussed about that. Now it will come in the future classes.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Sir,
Thank
in
you.
real time, which one do you, sir? Setter or constructor, sir?
I will tell you that, sir. So mostly constructor is recommended. I will compare them. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, sir. If one parameter is constructor is there.
Okay.
Sir. One class contain one parameterized constructor. There is no.
If the class is having
parameterized.
I understand. If the class is having only parameterized constructor, then constructor injection you need to perform. Then you cannot go for that. If your class is having only parameterized constructor, then writing constructor arg tag is mandatory. If I remove this arg tag, then it will fail. Because whenever you write property tag only, if you don't write the constructor argument tag, it will try to create the object for the car by using zero param constructor. There is no zero param constructor. When the class is having only parameterized constructor, then it's mandatory that you need to write the constructor arg tag. Otherwise, your configuration will fail. Okay. If you have only parameterized constructor, if you have only parameterized constructor, then you need to write constructor-arg tag. Otherwise, compilation will fail. Because whenever you configure bean tag without constructor, it will try to create the object by using zero param constructor. But in our class, only parameterized constructor is available. Zero param constructor is not available.
Okay. On that case, exception will raise, no?
Correct.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
If we have multiple parameters, we need to write multiple properties.
Constructor-arg tags, right? Suppose my constructor is expecting engine as well as fuel as well as brake. Then I need to pass all those parameters by using constructor-arg tags. Yes. If your constructor is having two parameters, then you need to pass the two dependencies by using constructor-arg tag.
Sir, every project we can go setter or constructor or only one. We can choose.
Only one. Why we will do both? We will do only one, either setter or constructor. Mostly constructor is preferred than setter. I will tell you what is the reason for that also. Okay.
Okay.
In the configuration file, is it always necessary for the developer to manually configure it, or dynamically can we generate the config files?
Sir, this is XML. It is outdated concept. When you go for Spring Boot, there is no XML. Everything is annotation based.
Okay.
Got it?
Sir, nowadays it is used or not, bean.xml file in industry?
No, sir. Nowadays, in the latest projects, it is outdated concept, sir. Just to give the idea, I'm explaining the XML configuration. Anybody using XML in the industry means no. Everything is annotations. We are going to use annotations.
Okay.
Understand? Yeah. Very soon I will start the annotations. Just to give you some basic idea, I'm explaining the program with the bean configuration XML. Going forward, XML I don't use. I will use completely annotations. That is what industry is using now. In the Spring Boot, you can't use XML. In the Spring Boot, everything is annotation based.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, actually, when I was creating a project, which you have told yesterday, so I was using Eclipse. So that Spring bean configuration.
Yeah, for Eclipse, it will not come now. You need to create one XML file manually and you copy the content which I have given.
Yeah,
create the XML manually. Yeah, fine. That is what
so it worked. Yeah, it worked. But in STS, sir, when I am creating a Maven project, it is working for the Spring initializer. But when I'm creating Maven project, it is giving me an error, which I have shared with you on chat. It's like could not initialize class org.eclipse empty. I don't know. I tried to eliminate that error, but
yeah, I will check it. I will reply on that, sir. I will check that and I will reply. Okay.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hi, sir. What is that REF, sir? What is this?
Reference means property name. That means I have a variable. In this variable, which object we want to inject, that bean ID. If you want to inject petrol engine object into this ENG variable, you need to give the ref is equal to diesel engine. Ref means a reference of that bean. It is referring to another bean. Ref is equal to diesel engine means in the ENG variable, diesel engine object should be injected by calling the setter method. That is property tag. Here constructor arg name ENG means ref is equal to petrol. That means through constructor we need to inject petrol engine object. Bean ID. Ref represents another bean ID.
Okay, ID. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have the microservice and Spring Boot notes if you have a tutorial or any notes, because I'm attending the interviews.
Even if I give the notes, you will not understand anything.
Yeah, that is I understand, but I put on the papers. I'm looking into other opportunity.
Sure.
So if can you please
Sure, sir.
Because
I mean, I don't
try
have any
to-
ready-made PDF. Whatever the class notes I'm preparing like this only, I have it.
Yeah, whatever you have, just to share it. I
Sure,
will
sir.
try to understand myself.
Sure, sir. Okay. All questions are clarified?
Sir,
Understood.
difference between creating a simple Maven project and Maven Quick Start Architect.
No, you create a simple project. I will explain that Maven, sir. Tomorrow you have Maven workshop is there. The people who don't know Maven, please attend the Maven class tomorrow. You get the link for the Maven workshop tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, Maven workshop is there. Anybody who don't know Maven, please attend that class.
Sir, can I ping my email ID?
Yes, sir. You send me in the WhatsApp. I will check it.
Okay.
All right. Fine, guys. Please practice this before coming to
So-
tomorrow's class. Tomorrow
So where
morning
do we get the Maven class link? Like,
in the WhatsApp group, I will share that. I already shared it. I think so.
so yeah. Can you
In the, already I have shared in the WhatsApp. Right?
Yes, sir, it is there.
Yeah, tomorrow we have our regular class also. Tomorrow morning Maven class is available. Evening our regular class is available. Right. Fine, guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll continue in the tomorrow session. Anybody who want to learn Maven workshop is there tomorrow by Raghu sir at 10 a.m. I will share the link in our WhatsApp group. Tomorrow evening at regular time, we have our class. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in the tomorrow session. Thank you. Good night.